We begin tonight at 5 o'clock with breaking news as the Boone County prosecutor decides to file charges against a man who's accused in the death of a cleaning crew worker. The prosecutor announced the charge, which is voluntary manslaughter, just 3 hours ago.
And our Jenny Runovich begins our live team coverage from Lebanon, where she's been looking through the newly released court documents. A big development here, Jenny.
Certainly, Felicia and Ann, we're talking about more than a dozen pages in this probable cause, revealing new details about what police say the homeowner did that day, especially how quickly they say he pulled a gun and decided to fire a shot through a door that was locked and deadbolted. Now, according to the probable cause, that homeowner, Kurt Anderson, admitted to police that he never announced himself, never said anything to the people on the porch, never gave a warning before firing that shot. That's why the prosecutor says his actions did not meet the standard for Indiana's Stand Your Ground law. Court documents describe how Maria Florinda Rios Perez and her husband went to the address they were given by their boss to clean a home, which turned out to be the wrong address. They tried the keys in the door around 7 a.m., and that noise is what woke up Anderson and his wife. He told police he heard a commotion and went to the stairs where he saw two people through the window and thought it was a break-in. The probable cause says he then told his wife to get in the panic room and grabbed his Glock. He also told police he'd been a gun owner since 2023, but he'd never fired his own gun, even at a range. Court documents saying Anderson and his wife told police he was terrified. The probable cause says it was only about 1 minute between the time he heard the noise to firing that deadly shot into the door. The next thing he heard was crying from Maria's husband on the porch. Prosecutors say all of this evidence led the decision to charge voluntary manslaughter.
It was thorough. It was thoughtful. Once we had all the information in front of us, once we looked at the law, once we looked at the case law, it became clear what the appropriate way to proceed with this case was. It is our belief, and it's our contention that the person did not have a reasonable belief that that type of force was necessary, given all the facts that he had at that time.
So Kurt Anderson is now being held in the Boone County jail without bond. That bond will be determined at his initial hearing, which is coming up this Friday. Want to let you know the family of Maria, they did not come to today's news conference, but we are getting reaction from community members. Of course, this case bringing a lot of debate, a lot of discussion all around town. Our Ella Rhodes was actually at the news conference with me. You got some reaction today.
Yeah. So like you said, the family decided to not show up to the prosecutor's announcement in this update for the case of Maria Florinda Rios Perez, but they did have a spokesperson that represents them. They're a community advocate who spoke on behalf of the family. Like Jenny had said, this is a level 2 felony charge against the alleged shooter that killed Maria Florinda Rios Perez. So we did hear from Carolina Casoreno with the Alliance for Latino Migrant Advocacy. She represents Perez's family. She says the family is still in mourning as everything is extremely fresh. This happened not even a month ago. Since a lot of family doesn't speak English, a main priority for her is to make sure that the family understands the weight of this charge. Casoreno says the one charge doesn't represent justice for Perez or her family. A few people from the community also showed up today who also came out last week for the vigil and peace gathering in honor of Perez. Some of them told us they believe there should be more charges, while others are okay with just this one initial charge so far. Casoreno told us the fight for justice is not over.
The main focus is that Maria is not forgotten in this moment, and that there is still, a movement to seek justice for her and support for the children and her husband she left behind.
Now, Casoreno's nonprofit is hosting a resource drive for the family. They're asking for supplies like baby items, diapers, formula. As Perez's youngest child just turned 1 year old, that resource drive is for Sunday in Indianapolis.
Yeah, this case is so heartbreaking for so many people in the community. In fact, the prosecutor today did mention how he is praying for the families involved here, too.
Yeah.
Want to let you know there is a lot to the court documents, and we have more details for you if you'd like to look more into this on WTHR.com. But for now, Felicia, Ann, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Jenny and Ella tonight reporting live for us. Thank you. Meantime, we also have heard from the lawyer for the suspect. That attorney is Guy Relford, issuing a statement this afternoon calling the victim's death a tragedy. He went on to say, quote, "I look forward to proving in court that his actions were fully justified by the Castle Doctrine, provision of Indiana's self-defense law. That law allows a person to use reasonable force, including deadly force, if he reasonably believes that such force is necessary to prevent an unlawful entry into his home." We've been following this story for you on air and online ever since we first heard of that shooting in Whitestown nearly 2 weeks ago.
And you can check out our coverage of today's developments and the past reaction that we've gathered to this shooting, including an interview with the victim's husband who was there at the time. It's all on WTHR.com. In our other big story we've been following today, we learned the identity of an Indiana National Guard soldier who was killed in a crash on I-65 while riding in a military Humvee.
Yeah, we brought you that as breaking news on Friday. It started during the noon hour today. Rich and I went to Frankfort to learn more about the specialist lost, Terry Fry.
Specialist Terry Fry was 23 years old, a graduate of Frankfort High School. During his 5 years of service, Fry earned the National Defense Service Medal and Army Service Ribbon. Specialist Fry was based here in Frankfort with Company D of the 151st Infantry Division. He left here with a convoy on Friday, headed to Camp Atterbury in Edinburgh for a weekend of drills. The crash happened Friday just after noon on I-65 South near the 865 exit in Boone County. Investigators have not said what caused the crash, but the military Humvee, an SUV, and a car hauler semi were involved. Fry died at the scene. 3 other male soldiers in the Humvee were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The Indiana National Guard has not released their names or their conditions. There were soldiers at the Frankfort Readiness Center on Monday. They were not ready or willing to comment. In Frankfort, Rich Nye, 13 News.
Also today, Rich and I exchanged messages with the family of the soldier killed in the crash and also the mother of another soldier who was injured. No one wanted to provide further information at this time.
In the courtroom tonight, a 15-year-old boy is facing charges as an adult in the murders of his father and great uncle. So this is an update to a story we first brought you in August out of Owen County. 43-year-old Grantham Chandler and 61-year-old Jeffrey Fauber died in the shooting. Sheriff's deputies found their bodies in the driveway of a home in Quincy. Indiana State Police say 15-year-old Jeremiah Dill turned himself into Martinsville Police, and officers there said Dill told them, quote, "I killed my family." His trial is scheduled for April.
At IU Bloomington tonight, all fraternity gatherings are suspended following hazing allegations against 5 fraternities. In a letter, the vice chancellor for student life there said that he and others have spent the last several weeks coming together discussing how to, quote, "have a safe and healthy Greek life experience." Despite several actions, the vice chancellor and the university continues to experience, quote, "unhealthy and risky behaviors from IFC chapters." So there is a limit on what they can and cannot do. To read that list, go to our website right now, WTHR.com. Beautiful day today, Angela. Unfortunately, we know the change is coming.
You know the drill. It can't last long. It is November in central Indiana. We're going to go from sunshine today to a cold rain tomorrow. So dig out the rain gear. Between now and then, we've got a nice sunset underway. Morris Reservoir at 50, 49 Noblesville. We're down to 49 in Indianapolis. Looks great over Greensburg, still at 53 degrees. Evening temperatures upper 40s, at least for the next couple of hours, with increasing clouds. We'll be in the low 40s by late evening and really won't drop too much more. We'll be in the low 40s, but that comes with rain early Tuesday morning. So umbrella weather through at least midday. Keep the jacket handy. High temperatures only in the upper 40s. And across the southern part of the state, we may end up with a couple of strong to severe thunderstorms. Rain arrives after midnight. Some of the steadiest will fall from shortly after midnight through, unfortunately, that morning drive. We'll continue the timeline and talk about the chance of a pop-up severe storm or two in a few minutes.